was the second unit on the film you're going to watch, MERA, MERA DESH. Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, the author of the authorized by the Amrish Roy Chaudhary, Khosla. And then can I request the family, Anita, and everybody to come up. Also we have Kavita, Mrs. Vinod Khanna. We're going to miss Vinod, but we're going to see him. Just an amazing, amazing performance, Kavita. Please join us on stage to unveil the poster of Raj Khosla 100 with the family. Can we have members of the family? Kavita, can we have you? And thank you, Mr. Balanpuri. Ji's son is also with us. Balanpuri, thank you for coming. You did a film called Do Badan with Raj Khosla. That was a turning point in terms of your career, in terms of the performance.
Well, it was that everyone in the film industry thought that I was just a glamour girl that I knew dancing and that's all. They never thought me to be a good artist or a good actress. And I don't know how, but I think Raj Khosla ji had something in his mind that he asked me to do Do Badan. And after that, the critics wrote that I could act, and they did write a good write-up on me. So that is how it gave me confidence to do more films like Chirag, Main Tulsi Tere Aangan Ki, with Raj Khosla ji.
And Mera Gaon Mera Desh.
And Mera Gaon Mera Desh.
Yeah. Mahesh ji, what made you really in '69 when you decided, was he your first choice? I mean, you walked into his office and...
I was just looking for a job, and I was a college dropout, not good at anything, and somebody had recommended me to go and try my luck at the BABU studio, where Mr. Raj Khosla sits down and has an air-conditioned cabin that was spoke with very reverential way. An air-conditioned cabin was something which was a rarity and kind of indicated the status of the filmmaker. So I remember walking with my Bata chappals, which was breaking all the time, and the burly security man giving me a look and said, "Where the hell are you going?" I said, "I'm Johnny Ram, mujhe bulaya." And so I lied, but I lied with a flair, and he let me in. And I remember meeting him there, and I'll never forget what he said, and I want the people here to listen to that. When I went to his room, the room felt like a slice of heaven, air-conditioned, ragzine seats, cold. And he was sitting down right below the image of Guru Datta, handsome image of Guru Datta, black and white. And he was sitting down there. He just had his, what he used to call his 40 wings. He used to sleep in the afternoon. And so he let me in, he asked me the first question. Ashaji asked me, "So, do you know anything about movies?" So I paused, I said, "No, sir." He says, "Great, zero is a great figure to start from." I don't think there could be a more generous response from a filmmaker of his caliber to a guy who's 19 looking for work, and he had tremendous empathy. And well, after the first conversation on filmmaking, years later, that zero is a great figure to begin from, is something which I tell the juniors who come to me. So as they say, what you teach your children, you teach your grandchildren. So when I say that, it is Rasa speaking to them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, that's a lovely way to think of him today on his 100th birthday and to take away. Amrish, very underrated filmmaker. I think all of us know that his body of work, he almost did all genres. What made you really, decide to do a book, an extensive book on his work and then go about it? Because, yeah.
I am very scared to speak because these two great people just turned towards me. I'm speechless. So,
Spoken so well.
No, it's just that, honestly, truth be told, Raji was a filmmaker I knew the least about. I had seen MERA and a bunch of other films, and he was the filmmaker who first made me aware that there's a presence called a director. That is primarily because of that signature,
which we have here.
Which is here.
Yeah, I've used that.
Which is there in plenty of his films. So that is for the first time I asked my father, who is this person? And then he explained that the director and the director's role. So that stuck in my head. And I was fortunate enough to have been granted this opportunity by the family. The family came to me, and I was given this opportunity, and I leaped at it. I thought
and they are the co-authors too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
They contributed hugely to the book. They opened doors for me. So the family was very, very gracious. So it came to me. I leaped at the opportunity, and the past 5 years I have known so much about him and discovered so much about him, and put it in the book.
Tremendous. You were 4 daughters. What is the kind of relationship you had, and how do you feel? 5 daughters. Sorry, 5. I got my homework wrong. You're 5 daughters. And is everybody here? All of you there? Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for all coming. Thank you. It's really wonderful. How do you look today, Raj Khosla 100? His films are going to be shown. You were there in the morning. The response you saw. I announced C.I.D. and today we're showing MERA GAON, MERA DESH. What is your feelings?
It was tremendous, especially for Bombay Ka BABU. The print was so clear. It was outstanding. And we had Rema Sen here, and she looked so much like her grandmother, Suchitra Sen, that it was amazing. And it was fabulous. I mean, the experience of just seeing the movie and sitting next to Rema Sen, a person whose grandmother was on the screen was awesome.
Anything else you want to add about something about your father?
Dad was very protective about us. You can't do this and you can't do that. So I had a lot of inhibitions which I had to get through to do a little bit of writing, and somehow this book has given me a lot of closure, because I had so many questions which I couldn't find any answers to, and Ambarish has done it. He has just laid it all out for us.
But you did work on the set. You worked on the set.
I was on the set of Sunny. I was allowed there because I got engaged, so I was allowed. And then I pursued it, and I used to do a little bit here and there. I used to watch him all the time, and at home also he was very different. I could make out he was different at home, and different, other fathers were different. And this book has somehow, made it all very clear why he made these movies and why this movie is like this. Because his love of music was so much in the house that it used to be outstanding. All the time you were hearing Hemant Kumar, Jagjit Singh, K.L. Sehgal, and whenever there were holidays, he would belt out songs on the harmonium. And so all that somehow, in the book, it's all kind of just, fit in. You know, when you see his movies and when you watch his movies, it's like, you know, watching him. You know, I get that impression.
How lovely. Yeah, thank you. Asha, you worked, like we spoke about 4 films. Tell us, how was he on the set and what was the kind of relationship? I mean, you must have worked, I think no other actress has worked in so many films with him. And you must have had a close bond in terms of as an actor and a director.
Yes, definitely, because when you work in 4 films, it becomes like a family. The whole unit becomes a family because the cameraman is the same, the assistants are the same. So it was like a family. And working with Raji was, I mean, when he used to picturize songs,
Yeah.
it was amazing. I don't know, I remember, I mean, in MERA MERA DESH, there is a song called Sona Le Ja Re. Now, if you see minutely, there was a round trolley shot in which he did Mukhra, Antra, everything in one shot. In between, because there was music, they have cut it. But it was all in one shot. And the trolleys, these round trolleys came in, I think so.
We had a nightmare trying to control the crowd. It was a round trolley.
Yes, because everybody would come in. And he was there.
And I was there, yes.
Yeah. But is there any particular scene, or did he talk to you when you used, I mean, when he used to give you dialogues, or how would that sort of engage with?
He would leave the artist to do his work, but he would come and tell us that this is the scene and this is how I would want you to do it. But then he would leave the artist on his own to emote.
Right. And is there any favorite scene of yours which you think?
There was a scene in Chirag where I go blind. And when I get up, I can't see anything and I start running in the house. And there's a mirror. Oh, you remember that? So I go near the mirror and I can't see and I start, yelling and screaming away and crying away. So that was one shot where Raji was also, totally taken up. There was one scene which I would like to share with you all. It was in Main Tulsi Tere Aangan Ki. There was a shot in which I'm being taken. The arthi is being taken and the song is being played. I remember it was in the night and Raji and Pratap Sinha was the cameraman. When the shot started, they both were away. They just disappeared. And I said, where are they? They couldn't see me, going in the arthi, taking my arthi. They couldn't see it, so they all packed off and went somewhere. And the moment the shot got over, he said, you go home. I said, okay, I'm going home. It was just one shot. But I mean, that's the way they used to feel about me.
There must be so many beautiful moments.
Yes, too many moments.
Yeah. So, Do Raste was a turning point. You've said that in Amrish's book too. Tell us about that. I mean, why was it such a turning point for you?
It was a beginning for me, and in a way, it was also a rebirth of Rasa because he had hit a low.
Yeah.
He had, and this industry hates failures and worships success, and it's very unforgiving to of failures. And he was going through a very low phase, emotionally, financially, and it was a beginning for me. And those were times of austerity. And I remember that when the movie released with the big Aradhana, 50 Saman's Aradhana was a smash hit. And it was in Roxy. And bang opposite that, Opera House was where Do Raste was released. And there was this apprehension that would you be able to draw the crowd because you have prima facie a family drama, and that is a romantic story, and the music had become a rage. And I remember when the movie released, it opened to 3-4 houses, and I distinctly remember the movie was fantastic because we used to keep on watching the screenings at the trial, and these false responses were phenomenal. And I distinctly remember me and Baman Khosla, the great legendary editor, who also began his career incidentally there. So we used to go and watch, and there was this eminent manager who had a long track record. He said, look, my hair's gone away in this business. Look, एडवांस में हाउसफुल होती है यहाँ पर देखते रहते हैं कि कितनी टिकट बिकेगी पिक्चर इज फिनिश्ड it's a dead end for us and I started crying because I was so attached to the movie and I distinctly remember that one Monday we came and the houses were full, the crowd was there and we said what the hell happened. It takes time for the movie to, those were the days when there used to be this wisdom that it takes time for the word of mouth to spread. There was no digital era there. You would, pass on the message. And then it never looked back. So I distinctly remember that when he was distributing bonus on the Golden Jubilee, I got 2 months bonus, one for the picture and one for crying for the movie. And he said that. Was trying 300 rupees more.
But is that the film where you went putting that scene in the climax?
Yeah, see, there was in Metro, there was a premiere, and people came down happy, but there was the second number, Ek Bangla Bane Niyara. So the house comes together, and so it was the classical coming together. And he called me and Raman Saab aside. He says, no, this is not how we're going to do it. We need to go to the film center, which was the only lab there, and get Bindya Chamkegi, a portion of that, and go to every theater, and I don't care how you do it, just join the end. The picture has to end with Bindya Chamkegi, Mumtaz and Rajesh Khanna. And then we went all through the city.
All the theatres?
Yeah, all the theatres. And that worked wonders because the family came together and others were in full bloom.
Physically slicing and putting it. Oh, wow, I wish I could do that.
And we had to go into the projection room and the projectionist would say, what the hell, he can order it. And then we had to do that. And Raman's house was a blizzard. So those were the days when there was a living contact with the audience, and whatever we heard from the people, we were willing to either trim it down or add something. There was something to add, but there were not people removed from the ground, sitting in some distant air-conditioned cabins in some corporate houses, thinking that they know the pulse of the audience. We were there near the box office window, and we knew that if the ticket sells, we make money, we get our salary, we get food on the table, and if it doesn't sell, we are finished. So that was the era. Now we have different times, and we do not know who the invisible man who loses money.
But thank God we are in Regal, and we are still in the old times. Amrish, just coming to his career point of view, if you really look at it, I mean, you've written the whole book, and I really like the way you ended the book. You talk about it. He had this very high point where he reached, and he was delving into crime thrillers, and Wo Kaunthi came, which was success after success. But he also saw that low phase beyond Dostana and thing, which really took him down in that last phase of the film life. When you really look at his career, from when would you say was his peak time, really, when he was making those wonderful films?
Tulsi.
Yeah.
I think he pretty much.
Yeah.
They say before the flame goes off, it burns the brightest.
Yeah.
Beautiful film.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Tell us something.
Actually, I think Rakhi was supposed to do that role, which I did. And Rajji rang up and said, I want to come and talk to you. I didn't know why he wanted to come and talk to me. He said, you're most welcome. He came to my house and he said, I want you to listen to what I'm going to narrate to you. I said, okay. So he narrated the story. And I said, Rajji, you just promised me one thing, that whatever you have narrated, you will keep it in the film. Not a single thing you will cut out of it. And I remember that people who saw the film They used to come out when the moment the interval would come, the women would be coming out crying away because I was the other woman in the film. But it was really beautifully written. I should say that it was so beautifully written that it was poetic.
Ashaji, you can now look back and see why he wanted you. Because he wanted a woman with that kind of Indianness, the grace, who would be in a relationship but would not dare tread into that space called the home, which has a sanctified...
yes. Beautiful dialogues, I tell you. Even the scene between me and Nutanji, it was so well written, beautifully written.
He had writers, but did he contribute a lot to the writing and things? Or Raji?
He was a difficult person. I mean, he would watch every breath. Other movies that he was either completely involved with the film, or like
or not involved.
Or not. But I would see that he was. At one portion, at some curve that Tulsi, it was having this problem, and he said, "This Tulsi is going to drink my blood." Couldn't find the right creative answer, and he was just. Seldom saw him throw up his hands, but then I think when you hit the rock bottom, you find the answer. And he found the answer, and that was one of the most amazing experiences. The screening of Tulsi was again in a Lower Parel area cinema hall, which is masked. There was a harsh silence, and yet the movie, with a harsh silence, because we used to take claps and whistles to be the sign of a hit film. The movie was going deep inside the audience's heart, and it exploded. The biggest hit of his career.
It's remarkable, yeah.
We both died. The hero and the heroine both died. So I went to Ranchi. I said, it looks very funny. My dying, I'm a sick person, I'm lying in bed and I die, it is okay. But Manoj coming in and just looking at me and falling and he's dead, it's too funny. So he said, yes, I agree with you. Okay, I managed that. The moment Mr. Manoj Kumar comes, he said, you did a very wrong thing. I said, why? No, both should die. I said, no, one should die. So ultimately, he went and convinced Raji that both should die. But it did make a difference. The film became a hit because we both died.
Yes.
If I wouldn't have died, I don't think the film would have died.
Well, that's Romeo and Juliet, both die.
It's wonderful. Aditya, I want to just ask you before we release the book and we talk a little bit about MERA GAON, MERA DESH and also about the great Vinod Khanna and a lot of other friends who...
Yes, I have something to say about Vinod Khanna.
Yeah, we're going to talk. Aditya, you've been hearing this conversation of how is he at home with the highs and the lows and his work. Did you feel that he was, because Mike...
He was absolutely possessed. I mean, he was a filmmaker at first, completely, absolutely. And that's what, when he used to stop making a film and there was a little bit of a break and all, we used to feel something wrong, he's not feeling good, he's not feeling excited, no music in the house, nothing. But the moment a movie was announced, he was a different person, completely. It was like his whole life had started all over again. So that's what filmmaking is
So
like.
let's talk about MERA GAON, MERA DESH, sir.
Yeah, so coming to Vinod Khanna.
Yeah.
Chandivali, we are shooting Chandivali. There's a place called Chandivali. Where Larsen and Toubro is, there's a place called Chandivali in Powai. The outdoor shooting would take place there. There was a set where Vinod Khanna was performing the first shot. And the shot was he's supposed to get up from the horse and he and his goons walk menacingly. And there was a long tracking shot. and then he goes and he just kicks open the door and points a gun to shoot somebody. The moment that take was done, and I was behind because one had to be very meticulous with Rajsa with the trolley. If the timing was not right, he would bloody throw you out, because he would start almost whack you on your head. He turned and said, I'm going to make this boy into a star. He has got everything that it takes to be a star. That was the first shot. The very first shot.
And quite a change that was the changing point for Vinod Khanna, wasn't it?
And then I remember when there was the climax, there was this fight where all the goons have been shot, all the dacoits have been shot and killed, and beaten by the villagers. And there's a final, the Jabbar Singh is running, and finally Dharamji has to corner him. And he says he is courageous enough to fight. So I said, but don't you think so? He should beat the hell out of him. He says, no, it has to be a man-to-man fight. Because courage is something, even in the bad man, the audience loves. He's a courageous person. So he won't just run like a dog, He would turn back when he's got his back to the wall and fight. And there was a very fierce fight that they had in the end, and that made it work in a very different way.
It was a fabulous film. I'm sure everyone is going to enjoy seeing this.
Yeah, but I have to ask you, and Amrish also, why is it called, a lot of people feel a lot of similarities to Sholay, sir? You were handling...
Sholay pays an ode to MERA GAON, MERA DESH.
Yeah, because so many of the semblances, the coin...
The mothership is MERA GAON, MERA DESH.
Yeah. And you did the production also of the film? Because your title comes as...
I was essentially a production person, but my be labeled as a director, I would steal behind his back and go into Padmanabhji and become an assistant there. So I got in MERA GAON, MERA DESH. Watch it. I am also in the production controller and also in the assistant.
In the assistant, I noticed it only says Mahesh. It doesn't say the full name.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Okay. So, but yeah, that was but it was the most difficult shooting.
Yeah.
It was not an easy shooting.
Yeah. So tell us about MERA GAON, MERA DESH, as we all...
Very difficult shooting. Very difficult.
Very difficult.
Went 4 o'clock in the morning to Lake Palace in the cold to give her clothes. And then she had to get ready for these 2 hours before. And then bring her back.
Yeah.
It was very cold in those days in Udaipur.
Yeah.
It was a different Udaipur.
Yeah, of course.
And then we were shooting in a place called Chirwa. Oh my God. It was, and those guys they were like savages staring at the mirror. They couldn't understand what's going on here. Yeah, they couldn't.
And they also were there in the film. They also worked.
Yeah, they were there. Later on, they would invite us to their homes and all that.
But Chirwa was, all the fighting scenes which took place in that Chirwa village. I mean, Vinodji coming on the horseback and then Dharmender going to fight with him and all that. I think in one scene I also fight with him, but not with my hands, It's just the dialogues that are going on.
But in the climax we were beating somebody with a stick. That was a cut in Chandivali.
Yes.
Patchwork.
Patchwork. Yeah. It was a film which was totally different from the films I was doing. Something different, very different.
And then the songs,
and the songs are so good, beautiful songs. Lakshmi Chaya had a better role than me, but in spite of that, I stood my ground.
Now that's a heroine.
But what is so, because it's Guru that had this special style of picturizing song, Goldie Anand had, they all came from almost the same school and that. What was so special? You've spoken about Raj Khosla was special. Is it the way he put tracks? Is it the way he...
Yeah, the way, they came from the Gurdat school. Not Goldie, but at least Rajji did come from the Gurdat school. So there was a little bit of that touch of Gurudatji.
But there was melancholia inherent in Gurudat's movie. But Raj Sahib was more Joy the Weaver, sensuous. He was more sensual.
Yeah, he was.
His way of filming his heroines, and there was this kind of celebration. There was this colorful. So there was a similarity, but one thing which we picked up from that was that the importance of music for a Hindi film to work, an Indian film to work, and the other was that when the song comes, the story must continue somehow, even in the subtext. You can't stop the story and say, "Okay, guys, now here is the song," and so that
is what started happening.
Yeah. So that was something which Guru Dutt ji had kind of imbibed into our boss, and then we learned from him that the story must keep on going, and there's no way the story must stop.
Yeah. No, I think we can just continue talking about him. It's almost like we're sitting in a drawing room and talking about Raji. There's so much and his body of work.
So much to speak about.
But we have to start the film. And Amrish, before that, we have to release your book, because that's one thing which so can we have the book? And I think it's really a labor of love. Yeah.
Can I say a few words?
Of course.
I would like to say the Film Heritage Foundation, which is doing such a wonderful job. Shivendra Singh ji and his team have been working so hard to put the films on the screen, the old times. And I would say that my friends, my colleagues of the industry should thank Shivendra ji for, doing this work so that people do not forget us. Otherwise, people are going to forget who's Asha Parekh, who's somebody. No, nobody is going to talk about it. So Shivendra Singh ji, we are all indebted to you, and we thank you for what you have been doing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Really wonderful. Alright, so we can now watch the film. Now the movie. Alright, please. Books, Mr. President.